Are you daring to call me a fool?
Yes, I am. What shall we do about it? Put me against the wall and have me shot? Will that prove you right?
It wouldn't prove anything, but it might be a very good idea.
You really do believe that I support Mau Mau?
Yes, I do.
The murderers who killed the only white man I've ever been able to call a friend?
Are you talking about my brother?
Yes, I am, and I'm proud of it. He was a brave, good man.
I'm beginning to think he was a fool.
You have no right to say that! I'm glad he isn't here now to see how we have betrayed and debased ourselves. Look at my scars, Mr. Howard. I'm a good mama, aren't I? Look!
Earl Cameron is a man who needs no introduction as our island's most celebrated and respected actor. His success in the film industry is unparalleled by any other Bermudian. He stands as an inspiration to young actors all over the world, particularly those of color, for the remarkable contributions he made in breaking through the barriers that existed for black actors during his time. He has performed with Oscar winners and film legends, yet it is a testimony to his character that Mr. Cameron remains, in his interactions at his core, a Bermudian gentleman of the highest order, sensitive, generous, and eminently charming, a characteristic that I had the benefit of seeing firsthand myself last night, along with his most charming wife. It is a great honor that Mr. Cameron accepted our invitation to participate in this program. And on behalf of the government of Bermuda, I would like to thank him for serving as a cultural ambassador for his island home, a stellar example of what is possible for Bermudians to accomplish. As a clear indication that talent often runs in families, we are pleased also to have one of Mr. Cameron's granddaughters here with us tonight. Miss Saria Rothstein, undoubtedly influenced by her grandfather's artistic abilities, is a wonderful singer, and we will have the opportunity to hear her perform in a special tribute to her grandfather this evening, accompanied by pianist Mr. John Woolridge, an ideal pairing given his emphasis on how we should all be proud to be Bermudian. I would like to thank our partner for this event, the Fairmont Hamilton Princess, who assisted in making this program possible, and we appreciate that Mr. Alan True and his staff have done a wonderful job in making Mr. Cameron and his wife Barbara very comfortable during their visit. I would also like to take this opportunity to thank the staff of the Department of Community and Culture Affairs, in particular, Mrs. Heather Whalen, Dr. Kim Dismont Robinson, Ms. Veenie Sims, as well as the members of the Historical Heartbeat Committee, Ms. Lucinda Sperling, Ms. Ellen Hollis, Mr. James Smith, Ms. Doreen Aubrey, and Mr. Andrew Birmingham for organizing this event. Thank you all for joining us, and I ask you to sit back and relax and enjoy what I'm sure will be a most impressive and enjoyable evening. Thank you.
Earl Cameron, CBE, was born in Pembroke on August the 8th, 1917. As a young man, he joined the British Merchant Navy and sailed mostly between New York and South America. When the Second World War broke out, he found himself stranded in London, arriving on the 29th of October, 1939. His first stage experience came in 1942, when he talked his way into a West End production of the Chu Chin Chow. He went on to act in a number of plays in London, including The Petrified Forest and Deep Are the Roots. Mr. Cameron's breakthrough acting role was in Pool of London, a 1951 film set in post-war London involving racial prejudice, romance, and a diamond robbery. He won much critical acclaim for his role in this film. His next major film role followed his work in Pool of London was the 1955 film Simba, about the Mau Mau uprising in Kenya, in which Earl Cameron played the role of Peter Karanja, a doctor trying to reconcile his admiration for Western civilization with his Kikuyu heritage. He played the Mau Mau general Joroge in Safari in the same year. From the 1950s to the present day, Mr. Cameron has had many major parts in films, including The Heart Within in 1957, Sapphire in 1959, in which he played Dr. Robbins, the brother of a murdered girl, and The Message in 1976, the story of the Prophet Muhammad. He also had repeated appearances on many British science fiction programs of the 1960s, including Doctor Who, The Prisoner, and The Andromeda Breakthrough, as well as a host of other television programs, including Emergency, Ward 10, The Zoo Gang, Crown Court, EastEnders, and others. Other film appearances include Tarzan the Magnificent, No Kidding, Flame in the Streets, in which he played Gabriel Gomez, Tarzan's Three Challenges, in which he played Mang, Guns at Batasi, Battle Beneath the Earth, in which he played Sergeant Seth Hawkins, The Sandwich Man, and the James Bond movie Thunderball in 1965, in which he played Bond's Caribbean assistant, Pinder Romania. His most recent film appearances include a major role in The Interpreter in 2005 alongside Nicole Kidman and Sean Penn, playing the fictitious dictator Edmund Zawani. His performance was universally praised. In 2006, he appeared in a cameo as a painter in the film The Queen alongside Helen Mirren. And in 2010, he appeared in the film Inception. He was appointed Commander of the Order of the British Empire in 2009 New Year's honors. Please join me in welcoming Bermuda's most celebrated actor, the one and only Earl Cameron. Mr. Cameron, thank you so much for joining us. This is quite an honor, and I'm very much enjoying having this conversation with you this evening.
Thank you.
Why don't we begin with just some thoughts on how you decided to pursue a career in acting?
That's a good question. It happened more or less by accident, really. I was in London during the war. I went there in 1939. Went on ship to India, 5 months trip, and came back to London. And a friend of mine gave me a ticket to go and see a show called Chu Chin Chow, a musical that was right in the West End of London, the Palace Theatre. So I saw the show, and backstage, and had a chat with Harry Cross, what his name was. I said, you know, Harry, they had 6 black guys in the show. It was a big musical. I said, I can do what you guys are doing. I said, how'd you get me on the show? He said, Earl, it's not like that. This is show business. You know, you don't get in shows. You're not a member of Equity. No, there's no way I can get to the show. I said, I was more or less kidding, but I thought it was much better than washing dishes, you know. So one day, about 3 weeks later, I was in a club in Soho in the West End of London, where I used to hang out. And Harry came in and he said, Earl, your big chance has come. I said, what do you mean? He said, well, Russell. I knew there were 6 black guys, but I knew Russell. He says, Russell didn't turn up for the matinee. It was the 3rd time, so the director said, get somebody else. So I said, you kidding? He said, no, come on. This was about 5 o'clock after the matinee, you know, 5:30, something like that. We went backstage at the Palace Theatre. It was only about 4 or 5 minutes walk from the club in Water Street where I was hanging out. We went there, and Robert Atkins, he's a well-known director at that time, he was standing by the stage door, and he looked me up and down, and he says, I guess you'll do it, Harry. And believe it or not, that night I was on stage.
Did you feel that your background in Bermuda had prepared you for your career in film in any way?
Well, yes and no. Not completely, no. Well, it's hard to say, but my sister, Helen, she used to do a lot of singing, so, and concerts and so on. She used to say, why don't you come and, you know, they put on those shows at the Opera House that used to be in those days. But I said, no, not for me. I was far too shy. But so I don't think I had any preparation for it, but determination is a wonderful thing. You know, when you do, I won't go into my history in England, but very briefly, I arrived in London, 1939, immediately after the war, 6 weeks after the war. And I spent the first 4 months in London suffering terribly. It was impossible for a black person to get a job. I mean impossible. After 4 months, my first job I got was a dishwasher at Charing Cross Hotel. And when I saw some of the old timers I'd met around Soho, the clubs there, I said, this man been in England yesterday. I've been here 4 months, mind you. He says, already he got a job. I've been here for years, I can't get a job. Now, that's what England's like. There was no work for black people. I mean, it's ridiculous, I know. But that's the way it was. They had two guys walked out of, two guys got hired for a factory, and 500 of the workers walked out because they hired these two guys from Trinidad. So, I mean, I witness this. I'm history when it comes to this, because I got there when I was the age of 22, and I saw it all.
What advice would you give to a young Bermudian trying to break into the acting industry?
All I say is that persevere, don't give up, keep going, keep trying. You know, there is a God up there, you know, and I'm a Baha'i, as you might know, and although I wasn't a Baha'i in those days, but I believe in. I've always believed strongly in God, and strongly. So prayers are powerful things. One should pray. Pray for the things you want. Why not? If you don't get them, well, you don't deserve them. And if you get them, then you thank God and say, well, I must have deserved it because I've got it.
All right, all right. Over the course of your career, how would you say that roles have improved or changed for actors of color?
It's changed a fair amount. Not enough, I'll say that. Now, I'm not speaking for myself. I'm 94 years of age, and I don't expect to get any special parts any longer. But however, you never know, you never know. But, things are much better. Today, in England especially, they've got some very brilliant young actors about. A few of them made their way to Hollywood, too. And so I would say that things have changed somewhat. In my time, everything was typecasting. You know, if the writer didn't say the colored or black character, you didn't get the part. You know, but now, I mean, directors will say this suits, some actors worked with, whether it's black or white. He might give him the part. But it happens more now than it ever did.
I think everyone has a moment in their life when they think, why am I doing this thing in particular? Mm-hmm. And did that happen to you? And if so, how did you deal with that?
Well, it would happen to me first night in the theater. Oh, when you're all nerves and tense, you say to yourself, why am I doing this? Why do I have to suffer like this? And it is a really, you will see the actors walking back, nobody talking to each other. Word about the curtain, once it goes up, and you get your cue. And it truly is, but once you get on stage, it all comes to you. But the thought of drying up on the first night, it's a frightening situation. But in films, you don't get that, because you can always do it again. So it's easy.
You must realize that you journalists have not always been kind to the doctor. He's a man of extreme sensibility.
Mr. Chan, can you or can you not arrange this interview?
Scotch?
Thanks.
Soda or water?
As it is. What about the interview?
Of the different types of mediums you've worked with as far as acting, TV, film, and theater, which one do you prefer and why?
I liked theater very much before I got into films. And I had been in the theater for at least 8 years before I got my first film, which was Pool of London. And so naturally I prefer films because it's easy. Film acting is easy. You have stuntmen, you have doubles, all this tough stuff. I worked with an actor named Victor Mature. He was a very lazy actor. Truly, I remember he was with Terrence Young. It was a film called film called Safari. He would say, hey, Terry, I don't see why you have to say all this. Yeah, I don't want to use the word. But and he said, well, that's in the script, Victor. I said, but look, I was looking at it. And he said, if I just say this here, it should be, you know. But if he was told to jump from here to here, he'd say, get my double.
Lisca Volante is still in the harbor, lying off the Casino Channel. The catamaran is there too, so we can use her for cover.
Oh, that's fine. You can drop me in the water behind her.
How do you stay grounded in a career where so much of your life is public and so much of what you do has to do with interpreting the lives of other people?
That's a strange question. Let me think.
Leave it to me.
You cope with it one way or another. What would I say? You know, you're just another human being. You cope whatever job you have to do. It's never bothered me anyhow. I don't think so. I, by nature, am a very shy person. I used to be very shy. Anybody is old enough to know me when I was a young boy in Bermuda. But Ira Phillips.
So does this mean I can't have an autograph?
But Ira, I see him sitting over there. He would remember me when I first came back from England after the war. I remember Ira was for the recorder, and he wanted to get a story about my, my experiences overseas and so on. And I recall very well that I wrote something, and he said, he would remember this. He said, but this is all you can do?
Mr. Ambassador, I'm looking for Catherine. If she's here, I want to see her. If she's not, I want to know where she is.
Sir, this cannot be too important to you. You're a man of great responsibilities. Dr. Younger, surely you must know we would have made it a point to learn some things about you.
Mr. Ambassador, is Catherine here?
Go now. Soon you will be back at your work at Washington. When you get home, I promise you will have a nice postal card from my niece. Now I must ask you to leave. We are closing the embassy for today.
Why did you move to the Solomon Islands?
Well, mainly because of my belief, my faith. As a Baha'i. You know, the Baha'i faith is for this age. It envelops all humanity, all right? To be a Baha'i is to accept that we, the Baha'is, have a job to help to bring this new world order to humanity, that which will eventually unite the whole of mankind. So this is the age of one God, one religion, one human race. So Baha'is spread out the best they can in different parts of the world, according to one's conviction. And I chose, and my family, to go to the Solomon Islands. It was a very daring thing to do. I know people thought crazy, but there you are. I'm very happy I did. I had 15 years away from show business, which I loved very much. But I went to stay. I didn't intend to get back in this business at all. No. Then my wife, after being out there for, well, I think I've been about 12 years, she came back to England because my youngest daughter wanted to do a drama course, Philippa. And she came with Philippa back to England with Philippa. And after, I think, about 18 months of being back, she discovered she had breast cancer. So, very sad. However, I came over to England for 9 months, stayed with her and Philippa and my other daughter, Serena. And then I went back with the idea of packing up everything. I had an ice cream business in the Solomons. Actually, I surprised myself. I knew nothing about business, but I got into it one way or another. And I was doing quite well, very honest. Helen would know. And I thought, well, I'll set everything up and come back. So I went back for maybe when I was there about 6 or 7 months. And my daughter Serena phoned me one day and said, Dad, you got to come straight away. Mom is very ill. So I got on the next plane back, the next plane out from the Solomons, got back, and 5 months after I was here, she passed away.
Sorry.
Read it.
Where?
The beginning. Read it.
The gunfire around us.
Louder. Like when you wrote it. When you believed it. When you meant it.
Gunfire around us makes it hard to hear. But the human voice is different from other sounds. It can be heard.
Can be heard over noises that bury everything else, even
Even when it's not shouting.
I have a special request, and I think that the audience would really appreciate this. Would you be willing to perform a little something for us? Maybe a soliloquy or something along those lines?
But I'll try and do an excerpt from Othello.
That would be wonderful. That would be wonderful.
Okay, let me blow my nose first. Soft, Joe. A word or two before you go. I've done the state some service, and they know it. No more of that. I pray you, in your letters, when you shall these unlucky deeds relate, speak of me as I am. Nothing extenuate, nor set down aught in malice. Then must you speak of one that loved. Not wisely, but too well. Of one not easily jealous, but being wrought, perplexed to the extreme. Of one like the base Indian, threw a pearl away richer than all his tribe. Of one whose subdued eyes, albeit unused by the melting mood, drop tears as fast as the Arabian trees, their medicinal gum. Set you down this and say besides. There's not a leper once, where a malignant and turbaned Turk beat a Venetian and traduced the state. I took by the circumcised dog and smote him. That! No one but this. Killing myself to die upon a kiss.
On behalf of the Department of Community and Cultural Affairs and the Historical Heartbeats Committee, I have the honor of thanking our star, Mr. Earl Cameron. His acting career, which has spanned more than 60 years, 70 years, has made him a legend. Tonight, we have been privileged to hear him speak and to witness snapshots of his remarkable performances. Amazing indeed. He is a giant on the international theatrical stage. Moreover, he is one of us. He is one of Bermuda's national treasures. Calvin Coolidge once said, "No one has ever been honored for what he received. Honor has been the reward for what he gave." Certainly this holds true for Earl Cameron, who has given of his talents, his time, and of himself. And tonight, he has so generously and graciously shared with us, and with humor as well, bits of his life story. Thank you so very much. Thank you for inspiring, for challenging, and encouraging so many, for uplifting the human spirit, and for helping your audiences, even for a little while, to escape their present realities and be captivated, intrigued, thrilled, and even momentarily transformed by your acting.
Funny Valentine, sweet comic Valentine, you make me smile with my heart. Your looks are laughable, unphotographable, yet you're my favorite work of art. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change a hair for me. Not if you care for me. Stay, little Valentine. Stay. Each day is Valentine's Day. Is your figure less than Greek? Is your mouth a little weak when you open it to speak? Are you smart? But don't change a hair for me. day is Valentine's Day.
Thank you. Thank you.